go time.
The boys are back. That's right, Florida Man Sports is here with another exciting episode. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. This is Florida Man Sports.
Ladies and gents, Florida Man Sports is back.
Yes, sir.
All the Florida teams all in one place right here. Johnny Cinco. Want to remind you that we are streaming on all major platforms, so please do like, share, and subscribe. And Johnny, we're going to jump into each division, rank them now that free agency is kind of settling down for our teams here in Florida, and right before the NFL draft, which is very important. So let's see where our Florida teams rank in their respective divisions, Johnny. Let's start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. What are your thoughts on that division compared to last season, and where do we put our Florida team?
Well, last season, the hopes were Jacksonville was going to win the division. Obviously, they had one of the most disappointing seasons the year before of all time. And not just the franchise, just in the NFL, how a team has a 99% chance of making the playoffs and then has an epic collapse. Still, they're a good team on paper, so still the hopes were that they're going to rebound and win the division. Obviously, it didn't work out as Doug Peterson was fired, and it's obviously a reboot for our Jacksonville Jaguars. Still a good team on paper, but still disappointing. So take a look at the rest of the division here, Chris. Who's in division right now? We got the Houston Texans, you got the Indianapolis Colts, you have the Tennessee Titans. All those teams made moves this the preseason period, and they improved their team for the most part. We were incredibly disappointed with Jacksonville. I mean, we talked about it last time that Jacksonville just had an epic failure when it came down to free agency. You still stick to that?
That the Jaguars had a bad offseason so far? Yeah, of course.
So,
absolutely.
That being said, we have to take a look at the rest of the division, Chris, and determine, okay, who is going to win this division, not just based on what happened this offseason, but the team as a whole. With the Tennessee Titans, you're looking at who they retained, or they retained a number of good players, but they signed, Dan Moore is a good pickup by them, 4 years, $82 million. Obviously, the guard, Kevin Zeitler, Cody Barton, Xavier Woods, Van Jefferson, a good wide receiver. So they made some moves, but there's a big question mark with Tennessee, Chris, is the fact that is Mayo Levis going to be the guy? Are they going to draft? I mean, you're sticking to the fact that they're going to go ahead and pick up a quarterback in this draft. I think they're going to go ahead and stick with Mayo Levis. I had hoped they went ahead and pick up Aaron Rodgers, but they haven't. Aaron Rodgers is still in the mist there. So you still stand by them picking a quarterback in the draft?
Yeah, I've been saying it for months now, and I stick by it. They're going to select Cam Ward with the number 1 pick overall. And to your point with the Titans, what they basically have done is they've gotten a lot of friendly 1 to 2 year deals. I think one contract only is for 3 years, but it's really a 2-year deal. So what they're basically doing, Johnny, is they're lining up to have over $100 million in cap space the following year. So what's going to happen with the Titans, and I agree with you, this division, every team has gotten better bottom line. And so they're going to win more games than they did last year, but then they're going to have $100 million to work with the following year, and they're going to see what Cam Ward can do for them. And then to your point, Kevin, is it Zeitler? Zeitler? How do you pronounce it?
Either way.
Well, he's the guard that I was talking about for Miami to shore up that offensive line. So he found a home there. And then the only thing I'll disagree with you on, Johnny, is Dan Moore. Man, they really overpaid for him, in my opinion, with the 4 years, $82 million. That to me is an overpayment. He is if you look at, he's like the number 5 ranked offensive tackle. To put it in perspective, Ronnie Stanley got a 3-year, $60 million deal. He was the best free agent tackle available. But at any rate, they did improve. Again, 1 to 2 year deals. They're going to have over $100 million in cap next year, but they did improve, where I don't think that we agree that Jacksonville improved as much as they did, right? I think it's kind of what we think here at Florida Man Sports.
I agree. I think that at the end of the day, they're going to maybe make a move for Hunter or maybe trade that number 1 overall pick. I just don't think that, Cam Ward or Sanders is as guaranteed as some scouts would say, like somebody who was, last year's number 1 or the other, an Andrew Luck type quarterback where people thought, guarantee a Peyton Manning. That guy isn't here in this draft. So I think Tennessee still stand. I'm the only guy thinking that they're going to stick with Mayo Levis and maybe go ahead and pick up Hunter or maybe trade that first overall pick. We'll see. Depends on what other teams offer. But the Indianapolis Colts is the other team in the division here, Chris. The Colts, they made some moves here, but the same question mark. Who's your quarterback? What's happening here? They picked up Daniel Jones. Now, as much as we want to laugh, I don't think we expected Sam Darnold to have the year he had with Minnesota.
Yeah, no.
So
I love the move.
Can this be? I mean, it's 1 year, $14 million, so it's cost effective. So can Daniel Jones kind of pull a Sam Darnold, pull a Baker Mayfield? I don't know. I like the move, but still, it's up in the air. The defense, they picked up, Cameron Bynum. They picked up Javarius Ward. Two big, good secondary, probably some top-tier secondary players available in free agency. I like they picked up Khalil Herbert to go ahead and match with Jonathan Taylor. So there's players in place here. I like the moves that the Colts did. It did improve their team. But like anything else, it's a big question mark regarding their quarterback. Is Richardson the guy, Chris?
Well,
is he the guy?
Ultimately, with the Colts, for me, Johnny, you're talking about a team that won 8 games last season, that had all that adversity where they benched their quarterback, and they still pulled out 8 games. So I absolutely love, and love is a strong word here, but I love the fact that they went ahead and picked up Daniel Jones, and that $14 million a year, it's only for 1 year, but make no mistake, they put him there for a QB battle, and that's what I expect. That's what I want to see. You got a guy that the Giants overpaid for, and talking about Jones, Johnny, there's going to be another quarterback that we're going to reference later that reminds me of this. You talked about it already, but look at Mayfield, right? Look at the quarterbacks. They get a different head coach and get a different opportunity that we get to see them. They kind of get to revitalize their career. So make no mistake, Anthony Richardson's going to have a run for his money, and it's going to make the Colts that much better. So I do think, and again, we're going to go over predictions here in a little bit, but I do see the Colts having a better season. That means that's better than 8 wins, Johnny. I really do. And then as far as their contracts goes, you're talking about 4-year contract for Bynum, 3-year contract for Ward. So this is not like a 1 or 2 year deal. They really feel like they can win now.
Oh, yeah.
And more importantly, they feel like they should have won more games last season.
I mean, they should have. Really, in this division, every team had high. Tennessee Titans, we were really high on. Everyone was coming into last season. I mean, they dropped the ball. The Colts still, they made some moves, but still the key was what's Richardson going to do? And he didn't really have a great year. So it's still that same question mark. This is it for Richardson, Chris. If he has a good year, what we expect from him last year, then I can see him possibly even getting an extension or doing something. But if not, they're going to move on from him. So we'll see what Richardson does. But let's move on to the final team outside of Jacksonville in the division, the Houston Texans, who's won the last 2 divisions here. Really just showing up, and not just here in the playoffs. They find a way to win a game here and there. So they've done everything they needed to do. Can they continue that? They obviously picked up Christian Kirk from the Jaguars in a trade. They signed some key names at cornerback, Derek Stingley, Mario Edwards, edge rusher, and Derek Barnett. So they picked up some pieces, linebackers. They have another running back. But still, is this enough for the Houston Texans to go ahead and win this division again?
I think so. I really do. And again, this is Florida Man Sports. We're talking about our Florida teams here and how we would love to see Jacksonville Jaguars just, win this division. But we got to be realistic here. The Texans are a very, very good team. Not only did they win the division twice, Johnny, but their GM, man, kudos to the GM. They're losing Diggs this year because of a free agency,
Good for them.
and he was injured. But then what do? They pick up 2-3 wide receivers to solidify that position. So they're doing a really good job. They're like a 11 to 12 win type of team, Johnny. So I do see them. And I'm getting a little ahead here, but I do see them winning this division again, unfortunately, for Jacksonville.
Yeah,
I really do.
They picked up some receivers cheap here. Braxton Berrios, Justin Watson for a couple $1 million. Yep. Diggs is done. Diggs is a locker room headache, and he has some talent, but in his mind, he thinks he's the best receiver in the game, and we all know he's far from that. So it's not a big loss for them. I did expect them to pick up one of the names. I wouldn't have been surprised. I thought they were going to make a move for Cooper Kupp. So, I mean, regardless,
he's still available. It's not done yet per se, but he's still available.
Cooper Kupp the deal's done.
No, I'm saying Cooper Kupp hasn't found a home yet.
He has.
Did he?
He signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Yes.
Oh, that's confirmed?
That is confirmed.
Oh, there we go.
He signed with the Seattle Seahawks. It's a 3-year deal. He's there. It's back home where he played college. So he's there, Cooper Kupp in Seattle. So it's going to be interesting what happens on that end here.
I'm thinking not Kupp. I'm thinking of Cooper. Freaking
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper, yes. Cooper. I'm sorry. Kupp is what's, yeah.
So Amari Cooper still is in there. But still, I expected something along that. But Amari Cooper is a little older. But still, there are names available. It's just kind of, you don't necessarily need Diggs was there to go ahead and be the veteran presence there. I mean, Robert Woods
he was doing well prior to the injury. He was doing okay.
Yeah, he was doing okay.
Spreading the offense. Yeah.
Doing okay. He wasn't being that guy that he thought he is, but he's not that guy anymore. Right now, him, Amari Cooper, they're past their prime. They're veteran presence. They're the same thing that Hopkins was for Kansas City. He's not going to be. He's not making another Pro Bowl. It's just something to where, all right, go ahead, and when I need you to catch a ball in prime time moments, go ahead and be there. That's what they needed from him. They didn't. But ultimately, Chris, we look at everybody here. Jacksonville still. We talked about it. They didn't really do the things they needed to win this division to really improve their team. They didn't really improve their wide receiver position. They haven't given Trevor Lawrence any additional weapons that he needs. Yes, there's still those players. You mentioned Cooper. You mentioned just a couple other players, that veteran presences that maybe Jacksonville signed, but the way this GM is working, I highly doubt it. So we'll see. But where do you see Jacksonville finishing this upcoming year?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I have the Texans winning this division once again. I've got the Colts in second. And again, this is the pre-draft, right? We always want to rate our teams before and after.
Yeah.
And this very well could change. I've got Jacksonville, Johnny, at number 3, and I've got the Tennessee Titans at number 4. It's going to be a toss-up battle at 3 and 4 because if I'm right about Ward, we still don't know about the quarterback position in Tennessee.
Yes.
That could obviously fluctuate some games for or against. But ultimately for the Jaguars, Johnny, this is Florida Man Sports, AFC South Division here. You're talking about a team that in Gladstone we trust at this point. So, yes, we've been hard on you, Jacksonville. Yes, we've hit you hard with the fact that we feel like you haven't brought anybody of relevant substance. Yeah. And ultimately because you believe, Gladstone, that this is your core people. Well, I want to see your draft. I do want to see your draft. But for right now, Johnny, I've got them in 3rd. What about you?
I have Jacksonville dead last. I'm sorry. I don't like saying it. I don't like that it came out of my mouth. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at these teams here, and all these teams made certain moves that I'm impressed with. Yeah. At the end of the day, I still see Houston Texans winning this division. They have a stranglehold on it, much like Tampa has in the NFC South. So I have actually second Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans coming off a huge disappointing year. I do not believe in Richardson. I think they're going to hold on to Richardson a little too long. Daniels will come in, whether he improves it or not. I think they're going to hold on to Richardson a little too long there, and they're going to lose games they shouldn't lose. So that's why I have the Colts finishing 3rd, the Titans finishing 2nd, and our Jacksonville Jaguars in last this upcoming year.
Wow, that's a tough pill to swallow considering the fact that obviously we want the best for our Florida teams. And again, we have a draft to go, so hopefully they'll prove us wrong. Johnny Cinco, depending on where we're going here for our Florida teams, do you want to do Miami or Tampa? What do you got?
Well, I think the AFC East we should go ahead and set it up on that end here. The AFC East, obviously, we've seen Buffalo Bills go ahead and just take over, kind of in the same position, not as long, but same position the New England Patriots were for a couple decades, but still they have the stranglehold in the AFC East. Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots, the Jets, and of course our Miami Dolphins are in that division here. Where do you see Miami finishing this year in the AFC East?
Well, it's funny, right? I was so hard a few weeks ago on Miami, and then last week we talked about how they did so well in free agency,
good management,
making moves happen. But then you kind of go back to the last season. You go back to the last season. The Miami Dolphins won 8 games last year, Johnny. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a terrible season.
But 8 games without Tua.
Exactly. He played 11 games, right? And so when you look at it like that, you're kind of like, man, maybe this Miami team is actually pretty good, and they can be good. And so what I want to see from them, again, and coming in the draft, I do want them to address a few keys in defense and maybe a little bit more on the offensive line. But as far as where I see them, Johnny, I see them having a winning record. I see them competing with the Buffalo Bills this season. I'm going to tell you something, and not to open up a can of worms here, but the Bills won 13 games last season. I don't see them winning 13 games or more this season. I have them winning 10 to 11 games. And if I'm right, they win 10 to 11 games, guess what? Miami can compete. So this division, get excited, Miami Dolphins. You can compete and you can win this division. So for me, Johnny, I have them. They won 8 games last year. If Tua can stay healthy, I have them winning this division. If nothing else,
you have the Dolphins winning the AFC
If nothing else, competing with the Buffalo Bills. I really do, and I love to hear your take because I've got some stuff for you here to prove it. It's not just me blowing smoke.
I mean, listen, Buffalo Bills. Yes, they won 13 games, but all their losses were essentially 1-score games. Everything was close. They could have easily won the game. Against Kansas City. They should have won the game against Kansas City, but we know how that worked out. Same with the Ravens. Every game was close. So still, 13 games and the 4 games they lost were all close games. So you're going to go ahead and say that that somehow Miami's going to go ahead and jump them, especially the fact that I felt that the Buffalo Bills they won free agency.
Can I answer it?
Oh, okay. I
Is
know
it a
how you feel.
question or can I answer it?
No, it's not. It's not a question. It was a comment. This is my
really
commentary.
feel. Oh, yeah.
It was commentary.
Okay.
You felt that we had the show last week, and you felt that that the Buffalo Bills. You looked at me. They just picked up names and names only.
Exactly. That goes back to my point that I don't think that they're. Listen, at the end of the day, you made this argument about Bosa, and I'm like, well, they lost.
Bosa's one player, but go ahead.
Okay, well, you said they got Bosa and they lost
They also
Miller.
got Joshua Palmer.
Yeah, they got Palmer, and who did they lose? Cooper.
Okay, they lost Cooper. Cooper didn't do anything for them. Cooper did nothing. Joshua Palmer is a upgrade over Amari Cooper.
You basically had tomatoes, and then now you got tomatoes. At the end of the day, it's not like you added to the team. It's that you bilateraled your team. And so for me, I can't get over the fact, again, doing the research, Johnny, doing the analytics. You're talking about a team in Miami that won 8 games last year with Tua only playing 11.
Yep.
This team is a lot better than we give them credit for.
Yes, they
are.
are.
I don't see, and you keep mentioning last season. That's why it's called last season. I don't see the Buffalo Bills replicating last year, doing it again, and winning 13 games or more. I do see them winning double digits. I do have them 10, 11 games. And all I'm saying, Johnny, my only argument is this. If they do, in fact, win 10, 11 games, that's more than enough for the Miami Dolphins to be competitive and compete for this division. That's all I'm saying.
Buffalo Bills.
That's all I'm saying.
Buffalo Bills last year were not a better team than they were the year before. They were the year before. That's why us and everyone else said they're falling off. The window's closed. It's done. Josh Allen won the MVP because this team wasn't very good, and he still carried them to where they were. It's still to 13 wins. Yep. So he did that with a team, and they've got better. So you can say whatever you want. Joshua Palmer, Michael Hutch, Joey Bosa, Larry Ogunjobi. You got so many different. Derek Forrest, Kendrick Green, Dane Jackson. They filled all the holes they had on that team. And you want to sit here and be like, they got rid of Cooper. Cooper was
and lost players
nothing.
Too.
Cooper did nothing for Buffalo. Absolutely nothing. Now they pick up a premier talent. It's not a bilateral, whatever nonsense you say. Joshua Palmer is a significantly better, right now, receiver than Amari Cooper. So that's a significant upgrade. Not just to mention that Joey Bosa is going to go ahead on that defense is an upgrade.
For about 5 games.
Okay.
Good job.
You can say what you want here, but that's still Buffalo, one free agency. So Miami, yes, respect. I really like what I actually have Miami finishing second in the AFC East. The Patriots, you hating it on them. I get it. They picked up a lot of good players on defense. That's their focus. No. And I like that. At the end of the day, they sit here, they have a young quarterback. Let's go ahead and make sure we protect them. We're gonna go ahead and do things on defense. And if we don't have the great year, that's fine. Because I think we're gonna pick up some pieces offensively. The New England Patriots.
You said watch yourself.
Are going to go ahead and pick up pieces offensively, like maybe in the season or maybe afterwards here. Just kind of we're not. What's upsetting is the fact that they should have finished last place. They should have had the number one overall pick.
The bottom line is this division overall, Johnny, ended up and it's true, right? It's not just blowing smoke. This division ended up getting better. Everybody did. I feel like the New York Jets got better with Justin Fields and what they have going on there.
Justin Fields is terrible.
And in the Patriots, I completely disagree with overspending. But you know what? When you can afford it, you overspend. And that's exactly what the Patriots did. What I find funny about the Patriots is that they didn't do this for Coach Mayo. Right? They didn't open up the checkbook, but now Vrabel's in town and they open up the checkbook and then they overpaid. They ridiculously overpaid. Milton Williams was going to get signed by the Panthers. He signs a $104 million contract. Ridiculous. Carlton Davis, the former Buccaneer, signs with them on a 3-year, $60 million, way overpaid. Chris knows he played for the Lions last year. Well, I do. I watch his tape often. And then Harold Landry with 3 years, $43 million. Again, overpaying for defense. So what's going to happen with the Patriots this year is they're going to end up winning more games.
3 or 37.
They're going to end up winning more games because they overpaid for people. And now
they won 3 games,
the one thing they didn't do is they didn't do the one thing you're supposed to do, which is give Drake May wide receivers. They didn't do that. They didn't give him a wide receiver one to get the ball. So they picked up
Matt Collins. Matt Collins
exactly
is there.
Who?
So, no, you're not going to go ahead.
So what they're going to do is they're going to address the draft. They're
No,
going
dude.
to address the draft.
Exactly. That's where you address
wide
that
receivers,
position.
and
That's
I
where
get
you
that.
address it.
Which is why, though.
You're not going to go ahead and overpay for a wide receiver. The Patriots have never
overpay for everyone else.
The Patriots have never overpaid for a wide receiver. Not even Randy Moss. They got Randy Moss
Overpay for everybody
pick.
else because you can on defense and give variable more wins. But look, ultimately, this is why I say that the Patriots are going to win more games than they did last season. That's my point. This whole
what a
division
take!
got better.
What a take! They won 4 games.
They're going to win more.
They're going to win more games. They're amazing. I don't want to step out.
And it's going to be because they were willing to open the checkbook for Vrabel and not for Mayo. That's all.
That's not the reason they're going to do it. Because
feelings are hurt.
O.J. Mayo is not a good coach. I said that from the beginning. You're over here like, oh, he's amazing. He's supposed to be a defensive guru that we finished among the bottom in the league in any stat that matters defensively. That's the reason he got fired.
Miami, I got you. Don't worry.
Ultimately,
Miami's winning this division.
if he's so great, why did no one else pick him up? Oh, pick up O.J. Mayo. He's not.
And so the bottom line is the Jets also improved.
The Jets. How can you not improve from that terrible organization?
The Patriots improved.
Of course they're going to improve.
But
Justin
and
Fields.
here's Miami, Johnny.
You're wrong.
Here's Miami that is going to win this division.
Miami's not going to win the division. They're going to finish in second. Buffalo's going to win this division again. The Jets are finishing dead to last because of the terrible, terrible Jets. The Patriots are finishing in third place. The Jets are trash. Okay,
Jets are another team. They're going to have $100 million next year.
Justin Fields is not a good quarterback. I'm so tired of people saying how good he is and that. And finally, I'm done. I don't have to hear any more excuses from guys like Chris. We're going to see firsthand how terrible he is. But, of course, you're going to have the fanboys. They're still going to make excuses for him and be like, oh, but he's on the Jets. He's bad. He has nothing right now. No handcuffs. Nope. No real expectations. Nope. Just go out there and perform. And he's not because he can't throw the ball.
The only thing I hope for the Jets to do is that they don't draft a quarterback. Don't draft one this year. Let the guy really play.
It's idiotic. Of course, he's not going to draft.
Load up. Look at what happened with Cousins and Penix last year. It's a whole mess.
Yeah, but the Atlanta Falcons are a complete and epic mess. So because we're focused on that, let's go ahead and focus on the NFC South, Chris.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, we saw Atlanta just go ahead and just be buffoonery is what Atlanta is falling there.
Was that the team that you
buffoonery, Chris?
The team that you picked to win the NFC, go to the NFC South?
Buffoonery. First of all, we should have known the buffoonery when they passed on the greatest coach of all time in Belichick, and they said, nah, Raheem Morris is our guy. He's going to be our guy. He's young and hip. How'd that work out for him? He didn't even know his quarterback was injured. He's a mess. That being said, Chris, NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did a lot of moves to solidify their stranglehold on this division.
Yeah.
Are they winning this division again, and how do you see it stacking up?
Short answer?
There's no such thing with you.
Short answer to be determined. You know, I this is Florida Man Sports. We are streaming in all.
That's not an answer. To be determined.
We're streaming on all major platforms.
Man, you're really going for it.
Please like, share, and subscribe. And unlike my counterpart here, I actually do the analytics. I do the homework. I actually know what I'm talking about. And you know, while you may pronounce better than me, I actually have the analytics. And when you look at the Tampa Bay Bucs. Did we win the offseason? Yeah, you make an argument that we did. We had a hell of an offseason. We're hoping to have a great draft.
You didn't win the offseason. You won the NFC South.
But, excuse me, sir. It's my turn.
Oh, really?
And so the problem, though, Johnny, genuinely is last year, for us to win 10 games, we had to win 6 of the last 7. Don't forget, Buck fans. We had to win 6 of the last 7 to win 10 games last year.
Okay.
And the fact of the matter is we will not get that lucky this year. So this year we have a harder strength of schedule than the Miami Dolphins and then the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mentioned that because they're the Florida teams.
Okay.
So we need to keep that into perspective, right? We need to keep that into perspective that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a very tough schedule this season with no room for error. And that really bothers me, Johnny. It really does. Ultimately, I'm just going to give you real quick. We're playing the Eagles, the Rams, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Lions, the Texans, the Cardinals, right? Do the math there, right? And how many wins we're going to need to have. So, long story short, so I can get your point here, I have the Bucs in a race to win this division against the Saints, not against the Falcons, not against the Panthers, but against the Saints. Because real quick, if you look at the Saints, Derek Carr, they thought this coming year was going to be year 2 of Derek Carr. They were going to take a step forward. He got injured, and then they lost their coach. In comes Kellen Moore. This guy is an offensive guru, offensive genius. And they signed in free agency people to 3-year deals, not 1-year deals, 3-year deals. They're expected to win now. So, Johnny, I see this division being a battle between the Saints and the Bucs. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to be, I'm a fanboy. They're going to win 12 games. No, I'm not telling you that, folks. But the first team that wins 9 games or more, the first team to get to 9 wins, will hopefully win this division. and I hope that's the Bucs.
So who's winning the division? Don't tell me who you hope. Who's winning the division?
I hope it's the Bucs.
Oh my God!
I hope it's the Bucs. Listen, man, I'm going to give you the truth.
You've approached this show with such a limp wrist. Just.
I know that I burned you earlier. I know that I destroyed you earlier. You don't have to get all. You don't put the emotions aside. I know. Listen, Daddy beat you up.
I don't know what
look,
fantasy land you live on.
Bottom line is, I expect the Bucs are more than capable of winning 19 games this season.
Yeah, well,
I don't see.
Are you calling them to win the division?
I don't see them winning 13, 14 games.
Are they
realistic.
winning their division?
And they can win the division. They can.
Christ. Any team can win the division.
If we stay healthy.
All right.
The Bucs will win the NFC South, but it's going to be between them and the Saints, and it's going to be between who can get to 10 wins first.
Attaway, Chris. Look at that backbone there. Anyway, so Tampa Bay made some moves that I really am impressed with. Some that could work out or can be an epic downfall. The toxic pick and Reddick that you love, I'm huge question mark for me. But
Reddick's gonna punch you in the mouth. He listened to last episode. You're talking so he's gonna come here and punch. He's gonna come to the studio and punch you in the mouth.
Do for it. I'm good for a lawsuit. Let's go for it. I'll take a punch for a few $100,000. Sure. So the New Orleans Saints, yes, I did like the moves they made, but still, it's the big question mark with Carr. But can Kellen Moore, who is an offensive genius, can he really go ahead and change the dynamic there in New Orleans? But like you said, the guy who said just a name, Chase Young, now is on the Saints. Jawan Johnson, Isaac Yodom. They picked up players that can make a real difference there. They signed, safety Justin Reed, 3 years, $37 million. So the Saints did improve, but, so did the Bucs. I would have liked the Bucs to go ahead and pick up a premier name offensively to go ahead and match up with Godwin, match up with Evans, do something there. But they still have a chance. It's still possible they can work something out with a couple players that are available. Like you said, Diggs, Cooper are still around. Maybe they can make some moves for them and give Baker Mayfield just another weapon.
Am I rolling my eyes enough for you?
So it's possible there. But at the end of the day, I'm not betting against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like this fool here who's not going to commit to Tampa Bay winning the division. It's not a fanboy talking, because for me, I look at everything here with, just a clear view of seeing what Tampa has done. Tampa has won this division when they weren't supposed to win the division. So I'm not betting against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker has another year. He's going to be that much better. Ultimately, the big question mark for me is Reddick. What's he going to be? Is he going to be the player that we expect him to be? If he just plays the games, he's going to be fine. But if he's a toxic player the way I feel he is, and he ends up being that guy, if he ends up being the guy for the Jets, the Tampa is in trouble. But outside of that, it's going to be a good season for Tampa. And I'm not even going to go ahead and get into too much with the Falcons. We got to be kidding. Falcons are a terrible organization. I gave them a little bit of kudos. They're maybe going to go ahead and turn things around, but they showed why.
Johnny, you didn't give them a little bit of kudos. Our fans that listen strong, thank you for listening, by the way. Mm-hmm. You crowned them going to the NFC Championship game against the Lions last year.
Okay.
So don't go there with that. You and everybody else crowned them paper champions, that they were going to go all the way because they got Cousins. And now what they got themselves into is a $50 million cap space bubble because they're keeping Kirk Cousins. So you could just start by admitting that you were wrong.
Cousins wasn't the issue. Yeah. Cousins wasn't the issue. The issue is Raheem Morris. That's what it comes down to.
I agree.
Cousins, who got injured, and still, instead of recognizing, seeing it, they stuck with him. You got Penix. He did that. It's just the coach and the GM are the issues here for the Atlanta Falcons. Cousins.
Now you're getting it, laddie. That's exactly what I have.
I still think it's a real possibility that they end up cutting Cousins just to save that $10 million and kind of see what happens there. But, I mean, we'll see. I think they're playing hardball to see if Cousins is going to go ahead and give some of that money back or figure something out. But there's no reason for him to be. But I can see Cousins being upset that, hey, we're not cutting you, but we're going to bench you. And Cousins be like, no, I still have good football left. So I think they're playing a game of chicken to see if Cousins is going to go ahead and demand his release and giving up some money and maybe play somewhere else. Because there's still plenty of teams like the Steelers who need a quarterback. So there's rumors out there. Obviously, we know what's going on between the Steelers waiting on maybe Rodgers, Russell Wilson, but the gray horse that's available there, it's possible there, is Cousins maybe going to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No.
So there's a lot of rumors. These are rumors, Chris.
No.
These are rumors, Chris.
Bottom line is he accounts $40 million against their cap, 14% of the Falcons' available cap space as it stands. I know that they got more money, but here's
They
the
can
bottom
save
line.
$10 million
The one
by
thing that
dropping
you
it.
and I can agree on this podcast on finally is, because you finally see my way, is that it's the head coach is Raheem Morris. I never believed in him coming back to Atlanta, and also the GM, because here's the thing, right? We would never know, Johnny. You'll never know. What if they didn't pick Penix and they picked somebody that could help them now to win now, right? Was it the third round, second round they picked them up in?
Penix the first round. He was the
Jesus,
first
first
round.
round.
He was a top 10
Right?
pick. They had two.
So
first
think
round,
about
top
that
10 pick.
think about that for a second, right? So it's also the GM's fault, and so with somebody that I already did not trust in Raheem Morris. So for sure, the Falcons are gonna have a losing season this year, as far as I predict and what I see. And then the Panthers.
I don't know about a losing season,
No,
Chris.
I predict
They're not going to win the division.
I predict
a
them
losing
having seven.
season.
I predict them having 7 wins or less. They're going to implode.
You hate the Falcons so much.
The only saving grace, Johnny, the only saving grace is going to be that Penix Jr. has a Jaden Daniels type of season. And if you remember him from college, first of all, the kid has to stay healthy. So I don't know that he's going to be able to produce that. Real quick, just the only other team in that division, since we're talking about all of them here at Florida Man Sports, the Carolina Panthers. You know, Bryce Young had a renaissance his sophomore year.
I don't know about a renaissance. You couldn't have done worse than the year
compared to what he did. Like, he actually showed that he could maybe throw the ball. First year, I thought the guy should have been done. What do you see for Canales, the coach there in the Panthers?
The Panthers are obviously is nowhere to go but up, compared to the year before last. But I do think that this kid is a good quarterback. He's small, he's frail, but still, the Carolina Panthers made some moves. Obviously with Wharton, with Mooring, I like Rico Dowdle to go ahead and match with Hubbard in the backfield there. Hubbard, who had a breakout year, which I do remember in my show talking about fantasy. Hubbard is going to blow up, and he did. Nobody saw it coming but me. I think that him matching here with Dowdle is going to be something. Yeah. It's going to go ahead and be. It's going to go ahead and be a really good season for Carolina. Now, I think Carolina obviously not going to win the division, but honestly, surprisingly, I do see Carolina finishing with 8 or 9 wins this upcoming year. I really do think that Carolina is going to go ahead and be in the mix with Tampa and the Saints, but I don't see them winning the division unless somehow this kid, Bryce Young, goes ahead and pulls out his inner Alabama kid and really shows that he is an elite. Can he blow up and really show that he was worthy of the number 1 overall pick, all the draft picks, everything that this team gave up to get him from the Bears? We'll see, but it's going to be an interesting and an epic season. It's a few months away, Chris.
Listen, Johnny, we know you're a degenerate gambler, so make sure you got 7 wins or less for the Falcons. You've got the Panthers with 8 wins.
It's too early to say.
With 8 wins.
It's too early.
And I've got
I
the Saints.
I
got the Saints and the Bucs that are going to be going at it for this crown. With the Bucs coming out on top, the first team to win 10 wins. I stand by what I said.
It's too early. First of all, you didn't stand by. You didn't say anything.
I stand by what I said.
You couldn't commit to the Bucs winning the division. I did. I hope they do, but you couldn't commit to it.
I literally told you how Miami's going to battle with the Bills, and you had nothing to say about that. But then you want to pick on me. You want to pick on me when I pick the Bucs battling it out with the Saints.
No,
come on, man. Look,
nobody's saying they're not battling.
Get excited. There's 2 out of 3 teams that are going to be battling to win their division, and I'm excited about that. Florida Man Sports.
Nobody's saying discussing. I have Miami finishing second in the AFC East, but obviously I make a clear pick, a clear winner based on the free agency. Obviously, I'm not going to pick wins and losses.
It's too early.
We're going
to wait for the draft, John.
But
it's too early.
Still, that's what it is. But I can confidently say that I like Tampa winning the NFC South, unlike a fake fanboy here.
It's funny. It's funny as we wrap up this show. Either I'm a fanboy or I don't have a backbone. Which one is it?
It can't be both somehow. Somehow it can be both.
Some way.
We appreciate you guys listening and watching. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You can listen to us, obviously, on YouTube, but also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart, anywhere you listen to this stuff here, guys. So thank you guys for watching and listening. Any final words, Chris?
Yeah, actually I do. We are going to be having the NFL draft episode that's going to be on Saturday. Okay. Not in a couple of weeks, just to get people ready that are still listening. So we're actually going to be live on the 3rd day of the draft on Saturday. Okay. And I want you guys to be aware of that so you can tune in.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Later.